And this whole area here, bunch of these purpley looking trilliums, just a whole bank full of them going back that way. This is that's Claytonia. The flowers are from that. These leaves are from the violet, which has the flower there. But yeah, dead poison ivy left the hairy stuff behind, and all these right here with the leaves are coming out kind of funky on this guy, but it's got these jointed stems and they'll be hollow. Actually, this is something different. I'm not sure who he is. I'll have to wait till you get a little bit older. And it looks like he's getting ready to flower. I was going to say this was elderberry, but I don't think it is. At any rate, these guys over here, I'm pretty sure are elderberry. Go down the deer trail here. No, they're not either. They're much woodier. I'm not sure who these guys are. Ah, I think these are Bladdernut. Little umbels there. Leaves in groups of 3. I don't see any of the little bladders on them. But yeah, that makes sense because I know there's some farther upstream. But yeah, they got the same growth habitat as elderberry, and they grow in the same type of environment. Ah, and there's an oxymoron, a white violet. And just tons and tons of these trilliums. There's some starting to open up over here. Yeah, they got beautiful flowers. They usually don't get that big, but this is definitely a nice find. Sandwiched between the housing development and the highway. Man, that's one of the biggest I've ever seen of this type. So these are the guys with the they look fairly green here, but they're the ones with the slightly mottled leaves. It's a little bit more on some of those there. And that frilly looking stuff next to them almost looks like Dutchmans, Breeches, or Squirrel corn or something like that. Have to see what happens with that later in the year. But yeah, definitely interesting. I came up on this mud flat just because it was getting so soggy down there trying to walk in the water. But at any rate, unless I find something else, here's another white violet there. There's several species that have white flowers. Quite a few going down that way. And then, yeah, more of that purple looking stuff. And then the stuff closer that looks more like Dutchman's Breeches. I want to say Larkspur maybe? But, yeah, a whole bunch of these trilliums here. Kind of awesome. Yeah, I'm not used to seeing them this big. I mean, they almost look like a giant red trillium. They're not, you can see the difference, the sort of mottled two-tone green on this one. But I think this is about as big as I've ever seen them. That's got to be 8-10 inches across. Obviously, they are well established here. But, at any rate, I'm going to move on downstream. I guess I'll hop back in the water and hopefully not sink up to my waist and see if I find anything else interesting. Try this again, see if you can make out the little baby minnows moving in between the leaves. You can see them kind of holding their position and zigzagging back and forth. Now and then one catches the sunlight and kind of sparkles, but as I walk towards them, Try zooming in a little bit. Maybe we'll catch some. Zoom back out. A little shaky, but hopefully you can see them kind of scattering as I start moving here. But yeah, there's a bunch of them. Not very big, but a whole bunch of them. So, at any rate, approaching some sort of civilization. And here I am. This is the mouth where it meets. That's Raccoon Creek flowing downstream towards the Ohio River. Junkyard on the other side. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've been in that junkyard. Looks like the trails are over there on that side. Maybe I'll wander, but this is all that damn Japanese knotweed coming up. Stuff will be taller than me in a couple of months. And this here is a privet hedge. It's a little black berries. People still use it's invasive as hell, but people still plant them. It's nowhere near as bad as the Japanese knotweed, but yeah. Birds don't like the berries that much, but all it takes is one bird to try them out and poop out a seed somewhere and another privet bush. But I'll wander out here, see what I can see. Okay, I'm still right here next to the mouth. But this stuff here coming up, I point out with my muddy toes. That right there, that's Jewelweed or touch-me-not. It's either Impatiens pallida or Impatiens capensis. Can't tell at that young age. At any rate, moving on through this floodplain here. See what I can see. Well-established pathway here. These are some better looking raccoon tracks right around here. There's also some sort of, maybe a goose, maybe some sort of a wading bird there. It's as slippery as hell. But yeah, there's a big flooded area here. Then I'm kind of up against a cliff, and that's Raccoon Creek continuing downstream there, so can't go too much farther. Have to jump over and take a different way back. I'll turn the camera back on if I find anything interesting. Looks like a good place for a turtle to hide, but I haven't seen anything yet. Some type of little nuthatcher woodpecker. There's variegated leaf stuff here with the red in it. It's a type of smartweed, I believe. It's native. It's kind of neat looking, but as far as I know, they don't offer it in the plant trades. Oh, little muddy raccoon prints there. But this guy here, it could be a wild cucumber, but being as close as we are to civilization, this guy could very well be a squash seed, squash or a pumpkin. So, yeah, I'm like right from the water there. Oh well. I'm going to move on back out in the open again, but I want to show all these galls on the goldenrod here. See a whole bunch of them panning around here. And so if you can find a stand of goldenrod, I think just about all kinds get them, these little galls like this. And I can't quite crack them up with my hand, but you can cut into them. They usually have a little grub inside. But it's a good way of finding emergency fishing bait in the winter. Little survival tip. Big tall invasive weeds they call Phragmites. See the hollow stems on this broken one here. Yeah, they're pretty big. They're definitely taller than me, probably 8 to 10 feet. They got these sort of feathery looking plumes on the end for the seeds. I believe the seeds are all gone. These are just the floof that's left. Maybe there are a few seeds, but at any rate, moving on. Appears to be some sort of honeysuckle bush. Not sure if it's native or invasive. My guess would be invasive in this area, being that close to an interstate, but interesting flower color. See if maybe I can take a little piece home and maybe ID it when I get there. When you walk through the middle of creeks and climb over rocks and stuff, you tend not to bring a lot of field guides with you. And these guys right here are sumac. I can kind of tell by the way they're growing in the bark. I believe staghorn. But at any rate, moving on. So look at how this invasive shit kills things. That's Japanese honeysuckle going up this tree and onto the next tree, and yeah, they just grow. There's some even on that tree back there, but yeah, they'll cover over things and just kill them. A little bit going around that one and up into the sumac even. Felt weird walking under the interstate to get here, but this shit here, they'll get a little more heart-shaped probably. Not quite totally heart-shaped all the time, but this is calorie pear. You can see where it had a whole bunch of flowers not that long ago. Things make the sides of the interstates turn white. But yeah, following this trail, seeing where it goes. Somebody planted a row of pines along here. I'm not sure if they're red pines or... First I thought pitch pine, but I can't find anything low enough to determine for sure. I'm thinking either red pine that was planted. You can see they're in a row. Some of them are dead. It keeps on going that way. There's one standing out there. That's the one that I first thought looked like a pitch pine from a distance, the way it's growing. Then those guys over there are Virginia pine. Almost everything else out here is invasive shit. Ton of that calorie pear, including one right there. But at any rate, might try to wade in there and get a closer look at that one, but I might just go back on the other side of the interstate and wander back through the tunnel. That looks like some sort of hawthorn. Nothing else really has thorns like that, but no leaves on it yet, so I can't tell you what kind. A few of them here. But there's what happens when you walk through the high grass. Tick. Not sure if it's a deer tick, but it's a tick. Pain in the ass either way. So hopefully I don't have too many more on me. Better off walking through the water. Now this guy here is a locust tree. Their leaves aren't out yet. Tell by the furrowed bark. It'll give him more furrowed as he gets bigger. And some of the smaller branches, though I'm not seeing it on any of these particular ones. A lot of times they'll have thorns on their smaller branches, especially like if there's any sucker shoots coming off down low. But yeah, there's some on that one right there by the fork in the trunk, that little thin one. You can see the thorns on it. But at any rate, moving on.